Well, I'm back with Lani Scarr from the West Australian and political scientist Simon Jackman, who's come down from upstairs and joined us on the floor. Let's have a look at the final numbers now from each of our pub test seats where undecided voters have gathered to watch the debate. We've been showing you them for the previous hour. We're going to reveal the overall winner shortly, but the results are in. Let's go seat by seat. In New South Wales, in Australia's most marginal seat of Macquarie, the voters backed Anthony Albanese by a fair margin there. 50% of the votes, a quarter, backed the Prime Minister. Let's go to Victoria, the Liberal Party's most marginal seat of Chisholm there. It was again a strong lead for the Labor leader, 52% of the vote there, 35% for Scott Morrison. Let's go to Queensland now, the electorate of Lilly, covering Brisbane there. Tighter margin, still a loss for the PM. Anthony Albanese won there by a 13% margin, very small undecided factor there too. In South Australia's marginal seat of Boothby, there it is, the voters decided it was another win for the Labor leader, 52% to 32%, slightly higher undecided. A different story in Western Australia, dead heat between the leaders, both at 44% there. That's interesting, that's Hasluck. In the Northern Territory, swing voters watching in the seat of Solomon backed Anthony Albanese. A lot of undecided voters there, 25, as many undecided as there were for Scott Morrison. The crucial seat of Bass in Tasmania, it was a 52% victory for the Labor leader in the pub test with 32% for Morrison. So, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Who was the overall winner? There it is. According to our national pub test in those marginal seats, we've tallied all the results from our scrutineers on the ground. So from 160 undecided voters in each location, a strong lead for Anthony Albanese, winning half the crowd. The PM claimed 34% of the vote, 16% undecided, so the next week may tell those votes. But Lani, Simon, there you go. That is a convincing win, I think it's fair to say, for Anthony Albanese there at 50%. Lani.
Yeah, it's absolutely a convincing win. I think it's really interesting that in Hasluck it was line ball. That's on a margin of 5.9%, and we heard it at the start of the debate from Mark Riley, and we've heard it all throughout this campaign that WA will be crucial to the election. So I'm sure Scott Morrison will be taking from that hopefully he can win over some seats in WA, but by gosh, like, it is definitely a convincing win for Anthony Albanese.
Simon, the only other aberration in all the results was Lilly as well in Brisbane. I mean, that wasn't an overall success for Anthony Albanese. Scott Morrison was higher there. What do you make of that?
Oh, look, it's my old stomping ground. I know that I grew up in Lilly.
There you go. You know it well.
It's often been a very, very close seat, and indeed, you know, is north of the river, and starting to get last election when Labor did so badly in Queensland, Lilly came right back. And if it's going to be a good night for Labor, Lilly exactly is the kind of seat where you need to see the dial turn up. So, we'll see what the good people at Kedron Wavell thought of that as one thing. But the other thing I'd point out, just on WA, Scott Morrison jammed an awful lot into his answer about benefits for WA, the GST. He ran hard at that because he knows, as we all know, that WA is going to be so important. And, of course, with the time change, we won't know the time difference later in the night on Saturday night next weekend.
Campaign, I expect the Jets will be back in WA pretty quickly with the Prime Minister on board doing more campaigning there. What do you think, though, nationally, though, that we can extrapolate from all of these results tonight? Is it's going to come down to seat by seat? I mean, it is a personality contest between the two. There was one comment out of, and I'm going to say it's in Hasluck that we heard tonight from one of the voters there in the red jacket, where she said, I wanted to hear that we're going to do better. I want to hear that we're going to do better as a country, and I think she thought that Anthony Albanese nailed that comment better.
And there was a voter in Lilly who also spoke about that. He said in the final remarks that he was most encouraged by the fact that Anthony Albanese said we need to do better, but yet Scott Morrison in his final remarks spoke about you need to make a choice. You need to not trust a Labor government who will not do better for the economy. So I really liked that was what people at the pub were talking about and took from the comments that the leaders made tonight.
OK, well, there's been some negative about Scott Morrison, but what do you think he did successfully achieve tonight during the debate?
Morrison tonight? Yeah. He landed some real punches on the nose on Albanese not being ready for prime time with respect to economic management. I thought that was when Morrison was frankly at his strongest. But he is running out of time, and I think a lot of people have already made up their mind. And tonight, 160-odd undecided voters listened to a pretty substantive exchange, and the bulk of them, 50 to 34, gave it to Albanese, and I think largely for some of the reasons some of the people in the pubs have been telling us.
On the economy, I do want to bring in, we do have some polling in the paper tomorrow. Now, interestingly, it says on the person who would be a better manager for the economy, 53% said Anthony Albanese would be a better economic manager, compared to 47% of those who said Scott Morrison would be a better economic manager.
There's been a shift there as well.
It's interesting.
All right, but there's still a week to go. You never know what's going to happen. We've seen that before. Lani, lovely to have you here. You're busy on the campaign. Good to have you here, Simon. Good to have your analysis as well. And also to Sam and Ben before who are joining us. That's been fantastic. All right, there's our pub test. The winner tonight is Anthony Albanese. It is sure going to be an interesting week ahead before the election. Thank you so much for your company this evening. Sunrise is back at 5:30 tomorrow with more analysis and every news headline. But from all of us here now, thanks for your company. Have a good night.